So what have we learned from this, children? Do not pick the hurdles, okay? If you're a budding athlete, don't pick the hurdles. Stay away.
Coming from a world champion.
At this point, I just know you're setting your alarms, right, people? You just are. Because what? It's episode 8, so get in here. Aaron's here too. AB, like, what is this? Another hotel room? Bruh, are you ever at your house? Do you actually pay bills at your house? Like, where are you?
Of course I pay bills. You know, I got a family, so they stay there. I'm just kind of a track and field nomad, so I'm always on the road, always on the go. Right now, I'm in Eugene. You know, they got the pre-classic coming up this weekend. I'm not on the official list, so I'm here as an alternate just in case someone pulls out. But I'm here training with my group, staying with my club, so you know, I'm getting it in. I'm getting ready for trials at the end of the month, and everybody here for my group is pretty much running. So I'm like, why not? Why don't I come out and train with my coach and stay with my group and support them and see if I sneak into a race?
Yes, I like that. I like that. And check you, of course I pay bills. I know you do. We know. You making that money, making that money, honey. I like how you're holding it down. Okay, you know where we are going to start. And welcome to Jamrack. Come with the thugs, them compound. I know some of you are going to butcher me. You're going to butcher me. You're going to come from the comments. I deserve anything I get in the comments, though, after that. But we are going straight to the Jamaican Track and Field Championships. You know we are, because what? That was out of control. Let's start with the men's 110-meter hurdles, which for me was like one of the most shocking events. Two of the island's biggest threats are most likely out, gone, not going to be at the World Championships. Here's why. First, the Olympic champion from 2020, Hansel Parchment, he clattered 2 hurdles mid-race, and he didn't even make the top 3. Y'all already know my hurdle heart hated that. I hated feeling that, seeing that. Poor Hansel. Meanwhile, the bronze medalist from the Paris Olympics and also a legitimate threat for gold in Tokyo, who is also the world number 2, Rashid Broadbell, he didn't even make it to the start line. He fell in warm-ups. He fell pretty hard. Now, the only way Broadbell can get to Worlds is he has to win the Diamond League title or AB, hope, aka beg, for a medical exemption. Drama, 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 drama.
Yes. I mean, as if the hurdles wasn't suspenseful enough. You know, it's always full of drama with having those barriers and people being able to fall, and you never know what's going to happen in the hurdles. But this is a bit of a letdown in some ways, and it's also exciting in other ways. Let me explain. So it's a letdown in the fact that 2 of the people that have been the biggest challengers to Grant Holloway have been Hansel Parchment, who won the Tokyo 2021 Olympics, and Rashid Broadbell, who seems to always have his number on the Diamond League circuit and has been one who's consistently been able to challenge him at the end of the race. Now, the fact that Worlds is the last meet of the year, the Diamond League serves as a wild card potentially going into that championship. So that adds a little bit more drama to the scenario. And I'm a big fan of having the World Championships at the end of the year. It just makes sense from a narrative standpoint. The fastest person wins at the end of the year, then we go into the next season.
So what have we learned from this, children? Do not pick the hurdles, okay? If you're a budding athlete, don't pick the hurdles. Stay away.
Coming from a world champion.
Listen, this event, it will get you. Anyways, keep going. Next case. Don't give up on your hurdle dreams. I'm just joking. Don't let me crush your dreams. Okay, next case. Let's talk about the women's 100 meters in Kingston. This was out of control. The anticipation for this race alone was gnarly. And when it was all said and done, 20-year-old Tina Clayton emerged from a stacked field to win her first national title in commanding style. She dropped a new, shiny personal best of 10.81. And also, SAFP, who Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce finished 3rd. And what does that mean? Basically, she's made her 9th world championship. And here's a cool fact. She won her very first senior medal as part of the sprint relay in Osaka, Japan. In what year of our Lord? 2007. AB, I was there. I won a medal there too. It's now rusty. Why is it rusty, people? Because that was like 18 years ago. Aaron, how impressive is it what Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is doing at 38 years old? Young.
Man, I feel like that meme where it's like, that's why she's the GOAT. The GOAT. You know, she just
Yes.
it doesn't even surprise me anymore. Like I remember I was watching the live results to see what would happen before I went to bed. It was on late, but I had to stay up to see what happened in the race. And she pulled it out. Another team that she's made. I don't think she's missed a team ever since she has gone on the senior
13
circuit.
straight.
13 straight. It's just goats doing goat things. You know, what can I say? At 38 years old, she still got it, and I expect her to go even faster for the rest of the season. But shout out to Tina Clayton for winning her first title. I know she was inspired by her sister who won last year and was in Paris representing Jamaica in the final, the only Jamaican to do it. So she is definitely inspired and read a huge personal best of 1081. Excited to see what she's going to do this weekend at the pre-classic, just adding a little bit more drama to that already hot 100-meter field. But it was a great race, and you know the Jamaicans always come with it in the sprints.
They really do. And that bit of changing of the guards, right, with Shelly-Ann being gone and then Tia and Tina potentially being there. So they're in good hands in the sprints, like you say.
Yes.
Okay. And finally, the men's 100 meters. As if that wasn't enough, what we just talked about, there was even more intrigue in this event. Right before the gun, get this, Oblique Seville was in some sort of physical distress. It looked like some sort of cramp. Just a part of his legs were like, nah, bro, not today. He wasn't able to run. So what did they do? They delayed the race so he could do some stretches and do some run-throughs. He came back about 10 minutes later and he was able to run. In the end, though, it was the Olympic silver medalist Kishane Thompson who stole the show, blazing to a new lifetime best and world-leading 9.75. He's now, like we've been saying all show, the 6th fastest man ever. And Seville, the guy who was catching a cramp, who was in distress, who I just told you about, he finished second and ran the 2nd fastest time in the world, 9.83 seconds. And Aaron, we never see federations just pausing the race just so you can get a little, massage or acupuncture or where the heck he got. Like, you never see this.
I mean, Seville must have got paid from Grand Slam and slid them a little bit of his winnings to the federation to say, hey, give me a little bit more time. I need to get ready for this 100. But I'm joking, of course. But jokes aside, it's very impressive what both of these guys did. Kishane running 975, that is next worldly stuff. It's the fastest time we've seen in the 100 meters legally since Justin Gatlin ran 974 in 2015. So that's a long, long time ago. And, it's just the changing of the guard. Jamaica always retools, finds diamonds in the rough. And this is another superstar that, he's the Olympic silver medal, so it's not in the making. He's already a star, but he's just taken it to the next level, running another 9.7 to become the 6th fastest man of all time. And Oblique running 9.83 after, needing extra 30 minutes to get voodoo done on his legs and praying to the gods to please get me through it. Yes. I don't know how he was able to do that, but he bounced back and ran one of the fastest times he's ever ran. So these guys are clearly in shape and ready to run. They dropped some bombs in Jamaica, and now Kishane's coming to pre-classic. Let's see what he can do here. Okay,
this is where I want to go next. I love spice. I love mess. I love juice. But listen... I'm already cracking myself up. Yes, I laugh at my own jokes, but listen to this. So Kishane Thompson won the race. He's doing well. And after that, a reporter was interviewing him as part of a scrum. So he asked what to me was like a very curious question. Hear him, the reporter. He says, "Are you working on your dip?" Now, that's not how his voice sounds, but in my head, that's how the question sounds. "Are you working on your dip?" Now, let me state facts here. Kishane didn't actually have to dip in that race in Kingston because he won by a mile. So there really was no need, in my humble opinion, for the reporter to bring up him needing to dip. But what we do know is this. Last year, Kishane lost the Olympic 100-meter gold medal to American Noah Lyles by a lean. So to me, AB, this reporter knew exactly what he was doing, where he was going, what he was asking. Anyways, listen to how Kishane tackled his question.
If a person is good as they are, from 0 to 100 meters, if you set yourself apart from the competition, you don't need to dip. Imagine going from 0 to 95 meters or 90 meters about, and you're back, you're at the back of the field. Dipping is not going to save you.
Kishane is classier than me, and I'm very classy. He's classier than most, okay? But A-B. Am I wrong for thinking, one, this reporter has never trained or ran a 100-meter sprint in his life? And two, is that question not petty for multiple, you know what I'm saying? Multitude of reasons, if that ever makes sense. But to me, who trains to dip? Aaron Brown, do you train to dip?
No, I don't train a dip. But first off, before I even get to your question, I got to go back to your reporter voice. Was that a Jamaican reporter that you're imitating, or is that my third grade math teacher? It sounded a little. Are you working on your dip? Like, what is that voice?
Definitely not a Jamaican accent, but yes.
Yeah, definitely not. No. But I understand completely what Kishane responded with, and that was a very appropriate response. Because nobody trains to dip. And he's saying pretty much like nobody goes to practice working on the final half a meter, 2 meters of the race. If you're not in contention, the dip is not going to save you, just like he was saying. So you got to work on that first half of the race, first 90% of the race, and get that right. And if you're in good position, then you can worry about timing your dip. And it's not like he didn't dip in Paris. It's just Noah out-dipped them a little bit, you know? So why are you going to worry about the 0.003 hundredth of a second? Why not work on just being a little bit faster to the line, which is what he's clearly done, running 9:75 now. So if he ran that last year, he doesn't have to dip. He can go beat his chest Usain Bolt 2008 style.
Do you see it? This is why you're my co-host. This is why we vibe so much, okay? And there's a song, When I Dip, You Dip, We Dip, but I'm not going to sing again because they're going to get me again. But what do you make of his shady question? I know I'm a little worked up, but I just don't like when reporters, broadcasters ask crappy questions. Am I a little bit out of line? Am I a little too worked up? Like, what do you make of the shady question? I think it was shady.
I mean, you know, I can say this. If you come on the trackside, Kishane Thompson, you don't have to worry about any petty questions like that. I'll just put that out there. If you ever want to come on and chop it up, you know, we're not going to ask you about your dip.
Nope.
But, you know, it depends on the reporter. Everyone has their own style. Sometimes, you know, they're reaching for certain things. They want to get a certain soundbite. Maybe they want to catch them off guard.
That style was nasty, but anyways. That style was nasty, but anyways.
Yeah. It is what it is, you know. I'll leave that to the Jamaican reporter. Maybe that's his style. But over here on trackside, we're not going to do that.
We're respectful. No. We know what to ask. We're not going to call you out a year later. He held on to that question for a whole year, might I just say. But anyways, sir, respectfully do you, sir. Just, you know, I'm here to chop it up. We're here to chop it up.
Maybe he's a Noah Lyles fan. Maybe he's like, hey, I see that 975, but can you out-dip him?
We'll leave it there. Joining us now is fellow Canadian Olympian and also Commonwealth Games bronze medalist and trackside's distance bestie, Kate Van Buskirk. Welcome to the show. Okay, let's talk about Faith Kipyegon, breaking 4. The dust has settled. It's been a week. What are your most poignant thoughts and reactions? She didn't make it. First woman to go sub 4 minutes in the mile. But what are your thoughts right now?
Okay, first of all, Perdita, I will be your distance bestie any day of the week. Yay. So couldn't be happier with that intro. Thank you. As far as Faith goes, I think that was a phenomenal performance. And I think that countering the narrative a little bit of she failed to, you know, break 4 or she fell short of or she didn't quite get there. Those things are true. But at the end of the day, this was the fastest that a woman has ever covered 1,609 meters in history. She ran faster than her own, you know, world record, which this won't be considered a world record, but it is a sort of artificial world's best. And I think that the inspiration factor was through the roof on this one. You know, she came in saying that this was what she wanted to do. She wanted to lay out the idea that anything is possible and we're only ever constrained by our own, you know, ideas of what limitation is. So, you know, right there, if it's not me, it'll be someone else. And I know that someday a woman will run sub 4. We needed this as a launch pad for what is surely to come, not just in our lifetimes, but I think probably within the next year or two.
So, Kate, I'm here in the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, Oregon, and I saw a big billboard when I was coming into the city with her, and it had that quote up there. So there was a huge spectacle with her trying to break 4. What do you think the future of competitions is going to look like? Do you think someone like Faith or another athlete might break it actually in a competition, or will it be another artificial competition that's put together?
It's such a good question, Aaron, and I would say that if it was anyone but Faith, it would be unlikely that it would happen in a competition. Faith is a gamer. she shows up and all of her world records, she has been ahead of the field by 50, 60 meters. I mean, sometimes they're not even in frame when she's running these times, but she's running all out all the time, even with that margin of advantage, because she loves competing and she turns up for her community, for her country, for her daughter, for her team every time to be the very best version of herself. So I think that if anyone could give it a real go in competition, it's going to be Faith Kipyegon. And again, I think that she's 31. Maybe she's literally running out of time a little bit. Not to say that there's, again, any limitations there, but she has now laid the groundwork for, other women to do it too. And once it happens once, or once you get really close to it, I mean, look at how long it took Roger Bannister to break 4 minutes in the mile on the men's side. And then within a year, 3 other guys did it. So that's what I mean by the inspiration factor.
Well, Faith definitely gave it her all. She went out there, ran her heart out, ran an amazing race. And as soon as she got into the post-race interview, she was on to the next. There's no rest for the wicked. She's already talking about, I want to break the world record in the 1500 meters this weekend in the pre-classic. So she's like, all right, I didn't break 4. Let me try and break the 1500 meter world record. What do you think about that? Do you think she has a chance to do it? Do you just believe, do you have faith in Faith? Like she's just a world record hunter? Like what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I think it's totally possible. I think the timing is really good. Again, as a mid-distance runner, you want to have a couple of really high quality races under your belt before you're going after your very best. So I think that she put her body, at the end of the day, she put her body in a place that it's never been before in that breaking 4 attempt. And there's an immediate physiological advantage that you gain when you do that. So even though it's not considered a world record, technically it's a personal best, right? It's faster than she's ever run. So I think that sets her up physiologically really well. Mentally, I think there's almost kind of a silver lining story here where she didn't accomplish the breaking 4. That's going to leave her really hungry to show that, hey, I can go out and set another world record, break my own world record in the 1500. All of that being said, as we know, I know you two have been talking about it on the show a lot this season, but Worlds is late. It's really late this year. So in terms of peaking, getting the timing right, she's not peaking for this. It would be very impressive if she broke her own world record. She's the only woman to go under 350 in this event, and she's done it twice. So it's totally possible. But again, if we don't see it, there's still months to go, and I think we're going to see something exceptional from her this season.
Oh, we're going to clip this because I actually agree with you, and I believe you when you say that. Let's key in on pre just a little bit. One of the events that I cannot wait to watch is that women's 800 meters. And here's the thing. For me, it was going to be the clash between the last 2 Olympic champions in Keely Hodgkinson from Great Britain and American Athing Mu Nikolaev. Keely has now dropped out, right? Tessige Duguma is still there. Mary Mora is still there. But I want to know, this is the track where Athing was the reigning Olympic champion last year at the American trials, falls at the track in Eugene, does not make that team, heartbreaking. Are all eyes on this, or just my eyes? But I don't think it's just my eyes, because I actually want to see what kind of headspace and form Athing is in right now. What's your take?
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And what's interesting is if we go back and contextualize that fall, that was coming off a 9-month hiatus as well. That being said, I think, from a mental perspective, she did fall on this track last year. I'm sure that was one of the most devastating events of her very young career. We have to remember she's only in her, early mid-20s. She has so many great experiences on this track. So bear with me. She's got the fastest PB of the field, which is the national record that she set on this track, 1:54.97. She was a world champion on this track in 2022. She won the pre-classic in 21 and 23. She won the US champs on this track twice. She won the NCAA championships on this track. There is so much that she's going to be drawing from, I think, mentally, that's going to really serve her well coming into this. And you got to be a bit of a goldfish, right? You have to just forget the past as much as you can and say, or counter it with the good experiences, right? That, yes, that happened, but it's not me anymore. I'm stronger, I'm more resilient for it. Plus, I have all of this great background at this facility going for me.
So it is the pre-classics. You got the Bowerman Mile, which is always a spectacle. We don't have Jakob this year because he's been dealing with that injury all season, but the field is full of stars. So if you're a betting woman, who would you put your money on this weekend?
I will cheer for Yared Naguse 9.5 times out of 10. Okay. I love that guy. I think, again,
but would you put your money on him, Kate? Would you put your money on him? Or do you just like him because he's your friend?
Good question. You know what? I would love to call
Call her
myself
out.
Yard Nagoose's friend. I don't think we've met. I don't think
In our
you would
heads, in our
consider me a
heads.
friend yet. I'm working on it. I would put my money on him. He turns up. He knows how to get the job done. I mean, he was the bronze medalist in the Olympics last year in the 1500. He's got the second fastest time of the year from indoors back at the Armory earlier this year with a 3:46.63. I mean, that is blazing fast. And he knows that he can compete with the best. He's ranked number 2 in the world, and he's also turning up. You know, the Americans did so well in that men's 1500 in Paris last year, and with all the prestige of an event like the Bowerman Mile, this is the 25th anniversary of the Bowerman Mile. So I'd say an American on American soil. It's going to be probably Hawker and Nagoose, but I always give the edge to Nagoose.
Over the Olympic champion Hawker. Very interesting, but you know your stuff. So
Controversial, but I'm going to go for it.
We love controversy on Trackside. This is what we have here. We love that. Okay, last question for us. When we think about distance events, what world record do you think could possibly be set at pre or this season? Like, 'cause when I think of the event in my head, it's Beatrice Chebet in the 5,000 meters. Would you agree? Would you go there?
100%. And this is actually the race I'm most excited about in the distance. Erin, if you get in, for sure, it's going to be your race. Don't get me wrong, but this is the most exciting distance race for me because this is a head-to-head between Beatrice Chebet, double Olympic gold last year in the 5,000 and the 10,000. She holds the world record in the 10,000. She set that in a race that was set up to be a world record attempt for Gudaf Sagai, who's the other athlete that's part of this conversation. Sagai is the current 5,000 meter world record holder. She has come achingly close to breaking that 14-minute mark. So we call, breaking 4 in the mile, breaking 14 in the 5.
There we go.
And she's run 14:00.21. Beatrice Chebet, though, they call her the smiling assassin. And it's for such good reason. She's really young, she's only 22, and she looks so sweet. She's 5'0", but she is a force to be reckoned with on the track. And she's already beat Sagai 5-4 head to head. So I think it's gonna be all about Beatrice Chebet coming into this. And to see a woman go under 14 minutes in the 5,000 meter, I mean, that's the event I went to the Olympics in, and I was so happy to be under 15 minutes because I was the 5th Canadian woman to do that. So to think about these athletes running a full minute faster than that is astonishing in all the best ways, and I think it's going to be a great race.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. And I can't wait to see that 5,000, 800 meters, and of course, all the other sprints too. But Kate, thank you for coming on. Thank you for giving us your perspective. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And good luck,
Thanks,
Erin.
Kate.
We'll be cheering for you.
Appreciate it.
We just love Kate. We just love Kate. She breaks things down. Okay, that was distance. You know, AB, you and I, we have to talk about the sprints at pre. Just us. So what do you have your eyes on?
Well, the event of the weekend for me, obviously, is going to be the women's 100 meters. We got my teammates in it, 3 of them coming back. They swept the podium in the U.S. trials last year. We got Sha'Carri Richardson, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, and TT Terry coming back, of course, against the Olympic champion, Julian Alfred, who we had on Trackside. We know she's ready to roll and drop something special. So this race, it's full of heat. We got Tina Clayton, we got Tia Clayton, we got Dina Asher-Smith. It's loaded. So I expect a world lead in this race. It's going to be hot. I'm expecting huge things.
So listen, you have the inside scoop. You have the tea because, again, like you said, you train with Sha'Carri, Melissa, and TT. What is practice like? What has it been like this week?
Well, this is going to be a callback to one of our earlier Trackside episodes, but I remember when I was talking about Sha'Carri after she ran in Japan, and I said it's nothing to worry about, right? She ran 11.4, but if she gets to pre and doesn't drop anything, then I would be a little bit concerned. I'm fully expecting to see fireworks at the pre-classic this weekend.
Nice.
I've had a front row seat to see what they've done at practice, and it's been spicy. It's been caliente, as you like to say. I've seen them turning it up, and when we do reps, one girl will go and we'll drop a time. The next girl will come the next rep and say, I can do a little bit better than that. And so it's been a back and forth. They've been pushing each other. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
It's going to be special this weekend. They're on home turf in America. They want to defend it. They don't want Julian to come in here and win another title. That pre-classic title, the 50th anniversary. They want to win in front of the big week Nike executives. So it's going to be special, man. I can't wait.
You got me pumped, okay? We gotta wait. It's not here yet, but you got me really pumped to watch this. Okay, I have my eyes on the men's 100 meters. No surprise, because Kishane Thompson of Jamaica has run the 6th fastest time ever. He did that in Kingston at their trials. He faces off with who? The American Trayvon Bromell. Now, with Trayvon, I really want to see if he can back up the fast times that he put down earlier in the season in Rome. And I also want to see how both of them can perform under the intense pressure of pre. Do you know what I mean? Do you know?
I know, and I'm also looking forward to this race as well. Spoiler, of course, I'm a sprinter, so of course I want to see the sprints. And I got to shout out my 2 teammates as well who are in this race, Christian Coleman and Brandon Hicklin. So I'm going to be supporting them, but I definitely want to see that matchup between Kishane Thompson and Trayvon Bromell. Trayvon, when he ran his 984 in Italy, it looked very, very smooth, very technically sound, very easy. He kind of eased up at the end of the line, so I think he's got more there. And then, of course, Kishane Thompson ran the fastest time in, 10 years since Justin Gatlin ran 974, I believe in 2015. So, he's always capable of very special things. He's the 6th fastest man of all time now. So it's going to be a fireworky race as well, just like the women's 100. Pre-Classic comes with it, man. I got to say they did a great job with these fields, and I'm very excited for these sprints.
Yeah, no, these appearance fees line budget must be insanity because you're not lying, right? Okay, quickly, let's touch on the men's 200 meters. Your training partner and friend, Kenny Bednarek, came on our show and he said, look, I want to go up against the big names. He finally gets his wish because who's in this race with him? The Olympic champion, Leslie Tebogo. Now, Aaron Brown, listen to me, good friend. I'm going to ask you who you got between Leslie and Kenny and the others. I don't want no teammate friend bias from you, okay? I don't want no homer situation. Who do you got? How do you see it? And go.
Okay. Well, this is all assuming that I'm not in the race. I'm on deck waiting in the wings. True. So assuming I'm not in the race, because of course if I'm in it, I'm going to go for myself.
Hello.
Let's assume I'm not in the race. I'm going to put my technical analysis hat on. No bias. Kenny or Leslie. Of course, there's other people in the field. I got some of my teammates, Courtney Lindsay, Kyrie King, got to shout them out as well. But let's go with Olympic gold versus Olympic silver. Who do I got this year? No bias. I'm still going with Kenny.
And the reason this man.
Surprise, surprise. And this is truly no bias, though. Even if I wasn't his teammate and he wasn't my boy and came on Trackside and gave us a great interview, I would still go with Kenny because Kenny is on a mission this year. If you've seen how he's been running at the Grand Slam track meets, he's been on fire and he's just been in a rhythm. And sometimes when you have that confidence going for you, it just manifests into faster and faster times. And I think he ran a PR already at 986 in the 100 meters. And I don't think he's shown what he can do in the 200 meters yet. I think he's been kind of holding back a little bit, waiting for the right moment to really drop a bomb. And I think there's no better time than the 200 meter at the pre-classic. He's going to be in front of those Nike execs, like I was saying. He's got the Olympic champion, so his eyes are seeing red. He sees the Olympic champion, the guy that took his gold, that one that he's been coveting for so long.
Right.
He's been Mr. Silver for so long, so many championships. I'm expecting a very fast race. I think he's capable of going around 19.6-ish. I wouldn't even be surprised if he touched 19.5 right now, to be honest, just because he ran that PR in the 100. And I just know, okay, he's going to be hungry. He's going to want to drop a bomb. And Tebogo, we don't know what kind of form he's in. The last time we saw him, he kind of jogged it in. He was hurt. He's dealing with some injuries.
Okay.
I think he ran about 10.3 in Rabat, and we haven't seen him since. So he could have went into the trenches, put in some work, and he's come back as a new man. He's definitely capable of doing that. He could drop a 19.6 himself. Who knows?
Okay.
But we'll see. I'm going for Kenny, not just because he's my teammate, but putting my analysis hat on. I think I went deep enough in the analysis realm to support my claim that Kenny's ready to run.
And just so you know, everyone watching Trackside, Aaron Brown was not paid for his endorsement of his best friend, Kenny, okay? He says he was, no, I'm giving him a hard time. We respect your opinion. I respect you, mad love. You see it, I believe it, because again, like you said, you have a front row seat. So I'm giving you a hard time, but what you're saying, you've backed it up. It makes perfect sense to me. Okay, so Canadians at Prefontaine. Let's introduce you to who's going to be representing the Maple Leaf at Pre. And of course, we love to see this. A trio of Canadian hammer throwers take their talent to the pre-classic this weekend, including world leader Athing Mu. He'll look to continue his dominance this season alongside the 2024 NCAA champion Rowan Hamilton. And in the women's hammer, Olympic champion Cameron Rogers takes on a deep field that includes 4 of the 5 women of all time. And rounding out the group is world indoor shot put champion Sarah Mitten. Safe to say, AB, Canada has this field thing on lock.
So we're going to be definitely watching for the Canadian athletes in the field events and throws specifically, but we also have a mixed program with para athletes competing at the pre-classic, and we have our eyes set on 2 Canadians who will be representing the Maple Leaf this weekend in Eugene, and that is 25-year-old Marissa Pompa-Constantinu, the Tokyo Olympic bronze medalist, who will be racing in the women's 100-meter mixed classification, while wheelchair racer Nandini Sharma goes in the women's T54 800 meters.
This shows how the landscape with para athletes has changed so much and has come a long way. Like Marissa winning the bronze, like it was an incredible moment for her in 2020. The Nandini in T54 wheelchair, that's like one of the most deepest, most competitive classifications. So to see her emerging and doing her thing has been incredible. Early in my broadcast career, had the privilege of covering para athletics, and there is nothing like it. And to see these 2 athletes leading the way for Canadian para athletics is incredible to see. Can't wait to see what they do out there. And speaking of Canadians, we have the NCAA champion, and also the NCAA record holder in the women's 400-meter hurdles on our show right now, Savannah Sutherland. Girl, we've been waiting a long time for you. We finally get to talk to you, and we're so excited. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Savannah, congrats again on the amazing season so far. You've been killing it. It's been a pleasure to watch. But when I say that you broke Sydney McLaughlin-Levroni's record, the NCAA record, what does that mean to you? What's your reaction?
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, obviously Sydney's the greatest to ever do it. So it's kind of surreal to even just have my name mentioned in the same conversations as hers, honestly. So I don't think that will ever fully sink in, to be honest.
You've had quite the year. So you make the Paris Olympic final. You also lower your Canadian record by like a whole second. I feel like at this pace, like you're gonna be a world record holder in like no time. But like seriously, when you look at the steady, improvements and these increments, what has been the difference maker for you?
Yeah, honestly, I think just trusting my coaches and trusting my training, I think has brought me a long way. And this year specifically, I think making the Olympic final last season really boosted my confidence. And I think that was the big difference this season, just knowing that the ceiling's higher than I expected it to be originally.
So I got to ask, I'm a USC Trojan, and, we just won the NCAA title in the men's team, so fight on, of course. But Michigan, when I think about Michigan, I don't really think about Michigan as a sprint school. I know you guys are really good at football as well, but, what was it like training there, and how did you get this done going to the University of Michigan as a Wolverine? How did you ascend this high as a non-traditional sprint school?
Yeah, for sure. Michigan definitely is more of a distance school historically, and that's not something I really knew going into it. I didn't really know anything about the NCAA, honestly. I'd never really heard about it before, so that was kind of a surprise coming in. So just kind of leaning into that, and it kind of felt familiar in that sense. Like I'm used to training on an indoor track majority of the year, so that didn't really bother me, and that was something that I was used to as compared to a lot of the other schools who are able to go on outdoor tracks a lot earlier. And it's definitely a little bit difficult for 400 hurdles specifically because there's not a whole lot you can do with that indoors in terms of workouts. So that would be a bit of a transition at the beginning of the season. But, we did what we could, and it ended up working out. And I have a great relationship with my coach and all of my teammates. And so that definitely makes the whole difference.
I hear you saying like, I'm built for this, okay? I'm from Borden, Saskatchewan. This is just what I do, no big deal. And I really feel like you've put your community on the map. I'm so curious with hurdlers, like how they actually find their way to the event. Like, how did you find the 400-meter hurdles?
Yeah, hurdles in general was something that I didn't really want to do at first.
Same.
My coach kind of told me to check it out. And so I was very hesitant, and he said, we'll do it for 2 meets, and it was the 60-meter hurdles indoors. And he said,
Yeah.
we'll do it for 2 meets, and if it goes horribly, you never have to see a hurdle ever again in your life. And then both of those meets were just in Saskatoon, and I ended up winning both of them. And so he said, we're going to stick with this. And at that point, I was a decent hurdler and I was a decent 400-meter runner. So it made sense to just try and combine them, I guess, and go for that.
Do you have any plans to run any pro meets before World Championships this year? Are we going to see you on the circuit at all?
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the hope. I think we're looking at a Diamond League in Poland, I heard. And then there's also another meet in Budapest that we're looking at.
Nice.
So then that's when I would kind of tune up the hurdles before going into Worlds. And then those would be my last meets before Tokyo.
Nice. Do you have an agent that you're working with, or is you and your coach making these decisions?
Yeah, I do have an agent that I'm working
Okay.
with.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're fully pro now. You're ready for the next level.
I guess so. Yeah. We'll
Nice,
see.
nice.
Savannah, I know the transition from like NCAAs to pro can kind of be crazy, but you have such the right attitude. Like you're just chill, you're just calm, you're taking it as it goes. Keep that same energy. That will take you really, really far in the sport because it can get crazy out there, as you know. But again, thank you for coming to Trackside and good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. All the best.
It is time for this week's shout out. And I know what you're thinking. Perdita, you're a world champion in the hurdles. Aaron, he's an Olympic champion in the men's relay. All you guys care about is the sprints. Wrong. We love the throwers. We love the field adventures. We have the utmost respect for them. And this week's shout out will show you just that. It goes to our girl, 2-time and reigning world champion, the American Chase Jackson. She smashed her own American record in the shot put at the Ironwood Classic in Idaho over the weekend. Get this. She threw 20 meters, 95 to better the mark from 2 years ago. This mark is the best in the world since 2013. That was a dozen years ago, people. And she's 5 centimeters away from that sacred 21-meter barrier. Basically, she's cooking. She's cooking. She'll be in the circle again for Saturday's Prefontaine Classic, where she threw the previous best mark of 20.74 in 2023.
Yeah, like you said, I'm a fan of multiple events. Not just the sprints, not just the hurdles. I like to watch a little bit of field every now and then. We gave some distance event love when we had Josh Kerr on, and I like watching the shot put as well. And 2095, that's not a high school 200-meter time. That is a very far throw. So respect to her. Chase Jackson is always flaring it up with her style too. So It's nice to see, her coming with the fashion and changing it up a little bit. And of course, I'm a Canadian, so I'm gonna go for Sarah Mitten, and I know what she can do. So I'm looking for a pretty special class here at the Pre-Classic. And let's check out some shot put, man. Let's change it up a little bit.
That's it. Let's go. That was really bad form. But anyways, moving on. Me throwing shot put, never gonna happen. Okay, the 50th edition of the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, Oregon will be a celebration of track and field's biggest stars. Nearly 300 athletes from more than 40 countries vying for glory at the famed Hayward Field. 5 podium rematches from Paris, including the women's 100-meter Olympic champion Julian Alfred, world champion Sha'Carri Richardson, and the fastest woman this year, Melissa Jefferson Wooden. They face off in an epic showdown this Saturday on CBC Gem, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is it for us. And listen, normally I like to ask Aaron a question right now, but I'm actually going to just get out of this because he has to go to the track at Prefontaine and train with his friends and his training partner and the Dennis Mitchell's coach. So he has to go, so there's no time, so I'm being really fast. So this is the end of the show, guys. This is the end. Thanks to Aaron. We don't get to banter, but we'll see you next week at 10 a.m. ET.
See you guys.